Well, it's Monday. As you all know, the Mondays are normally the most boring day starting the week, but I intend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. So today we're going to be doing, of course, three reviews from two different promotions. The first two, of course, are from Pro Wrestling Noah. As you know, we continue on with their tournament, the N-1 victory. So we got day 3 and day 4. Some exciting matches have taken place. However, I did mention Asushi Kotoge has to withdraw due to a neck injury, which is very, very sad. But life has to continue on without him, knowing the fact they cannot wait any longer. And then, of course, we move on with the G1. We continue with, of course, the A block matches. However, this is where, of course, we will determine who will be in the top 3 to make it all the way near the end. And I think some of you are going to like it. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, it's booked, the matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. Of course, we have the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on a like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have said, I think it's time to hammer time. So, let's begin with our very first review, and this is day 3 of the N-1 victory by Pro Wrestling Noah. Okay, Pro Wrestling Noah, the N-1 victory. We are in day 3. This took place on August 10th in Korakuen Hall. Now, if you haven't been aware, Asushi Kotoge had to forfeit because he had to withdraw from the tournament. So all his matches are now forfeited. So everybody who's supposed to challenge him will receive now 2 points. And the person he was supposed to face for this particular day, it was supposed to be Misa Kitamiya, so he gets 2 points. So in the total, that means he gets 4. So basically, it sucks. But I'm sure deep down he feels saddened and disappointed that he let down Go Shiozaki, who was supposed to be in this tournament, but due to injury it put him. Now we have 2 members of Team Noah, in fact, now out for the time being. But now let's continue on. Let's jump in with the Block B matches. We have about 2 of them right now. The first one we have, of course, is NXT superstar Tavion Heights taking on Alpha Wolf. Now, many of you probably would think, Tavion Heights was not going to make it because people are not familiarized with them. I mean, yes, that may be so. I mean, it's very uncommon, but he has put. But the one thing we learn when it comes to foreigners heading to Japan, they have to bring a good impression to the fan base, and that's exactly what he did. He even put away Alpha Wolf, gaining his first win when he applied the belly suplex, and just like that, he won. So he now is on the board with 2 points. Uh, Alpha Wolf currently has like 2 points as well. So we'll see how much they'll progress. Now we continue on with Block B. We have Titus Alexander versus Manabu Soya. Now, Titus Alexander, I can say he is a very talented wrestler, but he's facing a guy who is the most toughest SOB on the planet. Much like Keno, but he is who he is. You would think that Manabu Soya would put every ounce of power in order to put away him, and that's exactly what he tried to do. But he finished him off with the jumping DDT, and just like that, Manabu Soya walks away with the win, with getting his first 2 points on the board. And of course, Alexander, who won his first match on day one, well, he's still in two. So basically, he has what? 2 losses and 1 win. I mean, right now, I'm not going to go with the win-loss thing. We're going to see how that progresses. Now, let's jump in with Block A. We have Luis Monte coming from Dragon Gate. He faces against Dragon Bane. Now, of course, as you all know, I did mention that Luis Monte, once he reached 4 points, he's undefeated. But, however, he was determined to win this match in any means necessary, even attacking Dragon Bane before the bell ring. But it did not work. But Dragon Bane was able to overcome the odds when he applied the Frankensteiner and defeating Luis Monte. So that means as we speak, Luis Monte is now 1 loss in this tournament, while Dragon Bane has two extra points that he gained 4 points, and just like that, it's completely over. Excuse me. Now jumping into B block, we have Ulka Zazaki versus Keno. Now Ulka Zazaki, as you know, him and Keno have similar backgrounds. If you guys know this, Zazaki, in fact, he has a MMA background. Keno, bit of a martial arts background himself too, and of course a bit of a grappling style as well. But however, how would this match up? Now we have seen Zazaki, he put away opponents by that chokehold, and I'm sure Keno knows how to get out in one of those before because he has done it himself too, and that's exactly what he did. But he decided to finish him off with the Snapdragon suplex, and just like that, he has gained 2 points with a total of 6, and he became, of course, undefeated. So basically, no one can touch him. So he's leading his block. As for the Zazaki, he ends up with 2 points still. So we'll see how far it progresses with him. Now back to A block. We have Josh Briggs versus Jack Morris. So basically, these two men have done very well. Briggs did started out very tough. Not so much for Jack until the second day, but anything is a possibility. But it took only Jack Morris, only a shooting star press, to put away Briggs, giving him his next 2 points with the total of 4. Same thing with Josh Briggs. He currently has 4 points. But as I said before, we will see how far these individuals will progress along. Now, our main event, we have Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Yoshiki Inamura. Now, if you guys noticed in this match, I did mention a while ago that that Dr. Wagner Jr. had to withdraw from this tournament, and I didn't understand much of the injury, but it turns out it wasn't an injury. I was noticing in this entire match until it was explained. He was throwing up right after the match. He looked more like he was about to vomit. I mean, that is the worst feeling. I mean, I don't know what's that like for anybody to go through that feeling during the wrestling match, but I'm glad that he was able to try to finish it until Inamari applied his move Muso, and just like that, it was over. But however, even though he may have won this match, Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr. was throwing up constantly after the match. He wasn't well, so it was decided that he had to withdraw from this. I'm sure it was a disappointing thing for him, but as the saying goes, your health is the #1 concern. So it's understandable, sucks, and of course, a lot of his opponents that he has faced will also get forfeit points as well. So that makes it like 3 wrestlers out, 2 wrestlers out actually for this one, and it sucks. But we'll continue on to see what happens from here on out. But let's move on right now with day 4. Okay, as we continue with more with Pro Wrestling Noah, the N-1 victory, so as you know, certain wrestlers had to forfeit their matches. Now, we did mention that Atsushi Kotoge had to forfeit his match against Keito Kiyomiya, so he gets 2 points. That is the total. Now he has 3 because of the draw he had and that loss he had with Luis Mante. Now let's jump in with B block match. We have Alpha Wolf versus Ulka Zazaki. Now, Alpha Wolf, as you know, I mentioned he started out well in day 1. However, since then he hasn't picked up a single win. Ulka Zazaki, as you know, he is a force to be reckoned with. So he was able to repeat the same process what he did before. So he applied a chokehold onto Alpha Wolf until Alpha had no other choice but to tap. Much of the wrestlers who were in that chokehold either passed out or so, but Alpha Wolf decided, he had no other choice. So at this point, Okazaki has 4 points in total. As for Alpha Wolf, still in 2 points. Jumping into A block, Alpha Wolf's brother, Dragon Bane, he faces against Masa Kitamiya. Now, of course, you would think Masa Kitamiya, he is the strongest wrestler we know. He is tough. He's very powerful. But how do you face a guy who, in fact, you got Dragon Bane, who's very athletic, very how to say, very agile. But however, none of that didn't matter. But the one thing that was surprising is that he used his brother's signature move, the Wolf Driver, onto Masa Kitamiya to pick up his win, and he gets 2 points with a total of 6, while Masa stays in 4. So what's interesting, as I mentioned, he used his brother's Wolf, the Wolf Driver. So even the commentators might as well call it the Dragon Driver. I mean, why not? So we'll see how that rolls. But that was a great match. B block action. We have Tavion Heights versus Manabu Soya. I have to say, what an excellent match. Now, Tavion Heights, I have to say he is winning the crowd over. As I always say, if you're a foreign wrestler wrestling in Japan, you got to give a good impression, and that's exactly why. I mean, we saw that with with Ninja Mac when he made his debut in Pro Wrestling Noah, and people wanted him more, and that was pretty cool. But however, you would think that Manabu Soya will finish Tavion Heights with the jumping DDT. However, you know that Tavion Heights will have that scouted, so this time he had to use power into this match in order to finish him off, and that's exactly what he did. He used the lariat to finish him off, getting his next 2 points with a total of 4. As for Tavion Heights, he remains still at 2. Now jumping in with A block. Now, as you all know, I mentioned Luis Mante lost his previous match, so that was his first loss since before he started. He faces against Rohei Oiwa. Now, Oiwa, as you know, he started out not so strong until he ended in a time limit draw, and that's so. But however, how will Luis Mante, on the other hand, deal with this one? Well, as always, he applied a much different version of the double cross, the same kind of move that Ren Narita applies, and he put him way up too high, and boom, just like that, it was over. He's now at 6 points in his block, tying up with Dragon Bane. So we'll see how that rolls up from there. Now, our main event, I have to say this is one of my favorite ones, and also one of my second favorite matches with Titus Alexander. He faces against Yoshiki Inamura. Now, if you guys ever know, he had a great match with Keno on day 2, but this time things were awesome with Inamura. I wasn't too sure how this was going to end, because I was very bit of surprised that Titus Alexander was in fact put in the main event. But however, he had a hell of a performance. He applied the big ugly, which is a rolling German suplex, and just like that, he got his big win right there. I have to say, this is one of many wins that he deserves, and I think everybody's behind him on that. And of course, he gave out a good promo. He thanked West Coast Pro, Marvelous, even Noah, and his dreams are coming true. He never would have imagined it being main event in Noah before, but it's great that he actually got that moment, and I'm sure we're going to be rooting for him throughout the entirety of this tournament. But yeah, so good job. So I think that's pretty much it with the N-1 victory. Let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, the G1 Climax, New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, we are now getting closer and closer to the finale of this tournament. I mean, what a great ride. So we are going to be focusing on the A block matches. However, there are some things that are exciting. This will be the deciding factors who will be at the top 3 of the tournament. So we will get to that little by little. Now, our first match, we have Cal Newman and Gabe Kidd facing off each other. However, this match does not include that they are still in the tournament, despite the fact they did not reach the necessary points. However, you would think in this way. Gabe Kidd, as you know, the guy who talks too much, and I keep saying that he thinks he's the shit, lost it completely, losing to his match. But I'm sure he decided to take his frustrations out on Cal Newman. Newman did everything humanly possible to put him away, but he did not. He ended up on being spike pile drive by Gabe Kidd and losing the match. Gabe Kidd, of course, finished the tournament with 8 points. But however, he decided to break Cal Newman more by using a chair and pile drive him through. This is one of Gabe Kidd's temper tantrum, knowing the fact he did not make it all the way. So even though he talked too much, it did not go exactly his way. Now our next match, we have Sanada versus Zack Sabre Jr. Now this is a must-win match for Sanada. If he doesn't, he's out. That's from what I was determining. But however, these two guys, Zack Sabre Jr. and Sanada, have gone back and forth with each other. We know that Sanada had tried to put him in the Paradise Lock many times, but he escapes it. And of course, Sanada uses one of his technical moves to win, but that was not the case. Zack Sabre Jr., on the other hand, he actually defeated Sanada by applying the Zack driver, and just like that, it was over. However, it was announced that Zack Sabre Jr. is in the top of the block, so he is number 1, and he gets a bye in the last of the tournament. So basically, he'll be resting up. So I probably will explain a little bit more about that. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Jake Lee versus Shingo Takagi. This is also another must-win situation for both of these men. So basically, one of them has to win. So at any means necessary. Of course, Jake Lee is determined to make it to the top, and that's exactly what was going to happen. But, however, Shingo Takagi applied everything he could to stop Jake Lee, but it was only until he applied the pumping bummer, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. Shingo Takagi made it through. He even, in fact, it was announced that he made the top 3 as well. But here's the interesting part that happened. Jake Lee was not happy with the results, so he questioned the referee. He's pissed. He attacked Shingo, knowing too well that he lost. So basically, he's out. So Shingo landed in number 2 or so, of sorts. Now, our next match, we have Evil versus Shota Umino. Now, this is a match where it must be a win for Evil. Evil will do whatever it takes to win, even though his sorry asses, keep losing his last few matches. He could not afford to lose this one. So he decided to cook up a letter saying that Shota Umino forfeit his match because he was scared. You know what I say that? Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm sure the fan base did not buy his branded Kool-Aid. But of course, Shota Umino showed up. And of course, there were many obstacles that Shota had to deal with. Of course, that idiot Dick gets involved. As always. You know for a fact. And then the referee was taken out. But guess who showed up to finish off the refereeing? We have Shota Umino's daddy, Red Shoes, of course. We know he's down the line. He doesn't play favoritism. He's always been a strong-willed referee. We know that's what he would do. But however, of course, Evil tried to defeat Shota Umino with the Red Death Rider. It did not do any well. But luckily, Shota Umino was able to apply Everything is Evil on him, and then he applied Death Rider, and just like that, it was over. He's out. Evil has been knocked out. So, adios. But however, there is danger. The main event. I'll explain why. Our main event is the Great Khan versus Tetsuya Naito. Now, keep in mind, this is also a must-win situation for both men. So, whoever walks in, the possibility to jump in the top 3. So, basically, just like that, it was going to happen. But Great Khan, as you know, he's determined to reach to the top. That's exactly what he did. But Naito, his body was like already weakening. Then Great Khan applied the eliminator, and just like that, it was over. So once it was over, later it was announced, here are the top 3s. Zack Sabre Jr. as number 1, Shingo Takagi number 2. Now the number 3 spot, well, here's who was supposed to be at the number 3 spot. Well, it was said Khan got the top 3 spot. So basically, these guys are in. Now, Zack Sabre Jr., from what they said, he will be receiving a bye in the remaining part of the tournament, while I'm going to presume that Shingo and Khan will be facing off. I'm not sure if it's against each other or what, but we will see. But as I said before, we are now getting closer and closer to the finale. So we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we'll end our reviews right here and move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin. Now let's begin with the upcoming events from the promotions themselves. Now, as you know, this coming Saturday, I believe, we have GCW No Signal in the Hills. We have a match that was announced, a 6-man tag match. Chavo Guerrero Jr. will team up with Los Macizos. That's going to be one hell of a team up. They face against Los Desperados and Jack Cartwheel. So that's going to be a real fun match. Now, as you know, we are continuing with more of the N-1 victory by Pro Wrestling Noah. One of their matches, they announced that they're going to have a Yoshi match. Now, I'm not going to skip this one because I know some of you are going to be enjoying it, because it turned out this is going to be a case of Marigold versus Marvelous. This is who we have. Representing Marigold, we have Koiki Amari, Miku Anu, Bozilla, and Kuzina Tanaka. They face against for Marvelous, Takumi Iroha, the Great Sakuya, Miyuki Takase, and Sandra Moon. So they are the representatives for Marvelous, so it's going to be one fun match. I'm not skipping this one in case anybody asks, because I skip other matches on this entire tournament, but forget it. Now, an interesting press conference has risen around about the upcoming Sareee-ISM show, Chapter 5, by, of course, Sareee, formerly known as Sareee. Now, this event will take place on the 2nd of September. And the main event was announced. Sareee will team up against her opponent she has faced for the IWGP Women's Championship, the Icon, Mayu Iwatani. So they will be teaming up. And their opponents are none other coming from Sendai. We have Big Hash, Shihiro Hashimoto, and of course, Veni. So that's going to be one killer match. Now, as you know, next month, P.P.P. Tokyo will have their next event on the 10th. I forgot the name of it. But however, it was later revealed by Stardom president Taru Okada that Saya Ida will be participating in this event that is being produced by none other than Chanyota. So she requested this Saya Ida to be part of it. Now, these two have never fought each other, but they were involved in some sort of a competition of a showcase that took place last year. But nonetheless, this is what's going to happen. Chonyota will team up with her muscle sister. Zones, they take on Saya Ida and, of course, Anaki, Ryu Mizunami. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, West Coast Pro, as you know, we have for next month the thing that should not be. Two names have been announced that will be participating in this event: Jake Something and Alec Price. So that's pretty much it for the upcoming events. Now let's move on with some developments. Now, in Pro Wrestling Noah, one of the wrestlers named Hajime Ohara, you may have seen him. He's been with many factions over the years. He's been hinting about the possibility either joining All Rebellion or Team Team Noah, from my understanding. But the reasons behind that is because he felt that maybe he wants to raise raise Noah's momentum. So basically, that's the idea. But he did state that Stinger and the other group, I forgot their name, are out of the question. So yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Now, an interesting report has come in. AEW / Ring of Honor has certain wrestlers on their radar, and this is who they have: Viva Van, Aaliyah James, and Hyan. Now, Viva Van and Hyan are one of those wrestlers I can see yes. Aaliyah James, well, we haven't seen her that much, but we do know she recently appeared in an AEW show. But they are interested in all three of them, so we will see how that rolls up. Now, Tokyo Sports reports that a longtime Pro Wrestling Noah member, Yoshinari Ogawa, has announced his retirement due to neck injury. But what's interesting about this is that there is no press conference or ceremony for his retirement. I don't know exactly why, but I think this is his way of going off to the sunset without anything. But it's very uncommon. We've seen ceremonies take place, but this is the first time we ever see it. Now, as you all know, on the 19th of August, Guilia will have her last match, and her opponent is none other than her former disciple, Mai Sakurai. And she had some things to say to her about, that she said to her about it, saying that if she wants them to be the leader, she says that she also wants Mai Sakurai to teach her how to be the main eventer. So basically, it's more like she needs to step up her game. And I have to say, I agree. I mean, I know that there are a lot of wrestlers that will love nothing more to reach this top spot. And Sareee, as you know, she said she is not going to give that up so easily. So we will see how that rolls up. But nonetheless, we're getting closer and closer to the deadline. But as of right now, let's just end things as it is and call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT, I believe. This is coming off from the Great American Bash. Don't know what's going to happen. I know there's a lot of people speculate that, sooner or later we're going to have Stephanie Vakir and Giulia making their presence soon. I know that's something that many people have been talking about, but we will see. There are some wrestling events I haven't seen yet. Recently, there was a 2-show, 1-day event by Stardom. I haven't got the chance to review that, but that will be in consideration for the next episode. So we will see how that will progress moving forward from here on out. But until then, we'll leave things as it is. But as of right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.